Winter had settled over the Whitmore estate, frost glinting along the edges of the gardens where Max often wandered, oblivious to the chill. Yet the estate was alive with purpose. Under my guidance, following Eleanor Whitmore's instructions, the grounds were maintained, charitable programs flourished, and Max remained the calm, silent centerpiece of her grand plan. Clara and Derek, however, had not given up. Their resentment simmered like a slow-burning fire, igniting in legal challenges, veiled threats, and attempts to sway staff and neighbors to their side. They claimed the will was irrational, illegal, and an abuse of discretion. Arguments designed to undermine Max's position as the unexpected heir. One afternoon, I received notice of a court hearing. Clara and Derek were attempting one last challenge to the grandma's will, insisting that no animal could inherit an estate of this size and complexity. I packed the necessary documents, Eleanor's letters, and detailed records of the estate's administration under Max's supervision. At the courthouse, the case drew curious attention from the press. Photographers snapped pictures of Max, wearing a simple collar, sitting patiently at my side, and reporters whispered about the real-life story of a dog inheriting millions. It was surreal, yet entirely true. The proceedings began. Clara's lawyer spoke first, presenting arguments that Max, as a non-human, could not legally hold property, and that the estate should revert to the human heirs. Derek sat beside her, fingers tapping impatiently against the table, eyes darting nervously as Max rested calmly, ears flicking at every sound. When it was my turn, I presented Eleanor Whitmore's meticulous plans, her letters, trust arrangements, and legal provisions ensuring Max's inheritance was overseen by a caretaker. I highlighted the moral purpose of the estate, charitable work, animal welfare, and community support, and emphasized that Eleanor's intent had been deliberate and thoughtful. Then I allowed Max to walk toward the bench. He paused briefly, gazing up at the judge, and then sat obediently. The courtroom was silent, and a subtle tension filled the air. It was as if everyone understood that this was no ordinary case, but a test of trust, judgment, and integrity, values Eleanor had championed in her emotional storytelling through the will. The judge reviewed the documents carefully, noting the legal structures Eleanor had put in place. Every detail had been considered: caretaker responsibilities, fund allocations, contingency plans, and the clear directive that Max, under supervision, was the rightful heir. The judge's expression softened as he finally spoke. The court recognizes that while unconventional, the intent of the deceased is clear. The inheritance was structured to be administered responsibly, and Max, with his appointed caretaker, fulfills the conditions set forth in this will. Therefore, the estate shall remain under the direction of the caretaker on behalf of Max Whitmore. A ripple of disbelief moved through the courtroom. Clara's face was pale, Derek's jaw clenched, but Max wagged his tail as if understanding every word. The estate, and Eleanor's vision, had survived intact. Returning home, I reflected on the magnitude of what had occurred. Max's inheritance was more than money or property. It was a living, breathing embodiment of Eleanor's values. Every charitable program, every rescued animal, every carefully tended garden represented the hidden family truth she had woven into the fabric of her will. The weeks that followed saw a transformation. Clara and Derek gradually withdrew, their powerlessness a constant reminder of the folly of entitlement. Meanwhile, the estate thrived. Max's presence, quiet and unassuming, became a symbol of patience, loyalty, and the unexpected ways wisdom could manifest. Visitors came to witness the story: townspeople, journalists, and even distant relatives curious about the emotional will reading that had changed a family forever. Eleanor's lessons resonated far beyond her immediate circle. People marveled not only at the novelty of the inheritance, but at the clarity of purpose behind it. Max was not just an heir, He was a testament to the enduring power of integrity over greed. One evening, as the sun set over the snow-dusted gardens, I sat beside Max, watching him sniff the air, ears perked to the faintest sound. In that moment, I understood fully what Eleanor had accomplished. She had transcended traditional inheritance, using Max as a mirror to reflect human flaws and virtues alike. Her estate was not simply a collection of possessions. It was a legacy of values, a lesson in stewardship, and proof that responsibility could be entrusted to those who deserved it most, regardless of species. And as I stroked Max's fur, I realized the final truth. Inheritance, in Eleanor Whitmore's vision, was never about bloodlines or entitlement. It was about honoring a legacy, cultivating character, and recognizing that the most profound heirs are often those who carry integrity, patience, and loyalty, not just a family name. The Whitmore estate, guided by Max and me, became a beacon of change, a testament to the careful planning of a grandmother who refused to leave her legacy to chance. In the end, the world saw a dog inherit millions, but those who understood the story recognized something far greater: the inheritance of values, trust, and the quiet power of doing what is right. Spring arrived, softening the frost that had clung to the Whitmore estate. The gardens, once dormant, now blossomed with life, a visual reflection of the transformation that had occurred since Eleanor Whitmore's passing. Max, the unlikeliest of heirs, patrolled the grounds with quiet dignity, his presence a constant reminder of the lessons embedded in the grandma's will. The local community had come to understand the story of Max's inheritance as more than a novelty. It had become a real-life story of responsibility, integrity, and the unexpected paths through which wisdom could manifest. People visited, not just to witness the unusual heir, but to participate in the programs Eleanor had envisioned: animal shelters, scholarships, and community gardens, all managed under my guidance with Max at the center of attention. Clara and Derek Hawthorne had retreated entirely from the estate. Their attempts to challenge the emotional will reading had failed, leaving them frustrated and diminished. Their absence, however, brought clarity to the estate's mission. Without the weight of petty human ambition, the property flourished, every decision made in alignment with Eleanor's vision. One sunny afternoon, a group of children gathered near the main garden, where Max sat patiently, tail wagging in slow approval. They were part of a program Eleanor had designed, teaching compassion, responsibility, and respect for life. I watched as Max nudged a ball toward a young girl, who laughed and returned it. In that moment, it was clear that the inheritance had transcended monetary value. It had become a living lesson in kindness, stewardship, and accountability. Visitors asked questions constantly. "How did a dog inherit an entire estate?" they would ask. And I would respond, always emphasizing Eleanor's foresight. It's not about who or what inherits, but about who embodies the values entrusted to them. Max is a mirror of integrity, patience, and loyalty, the very traits my grandmother valued above all else. Even beyond the estate, Eleanor's story began to ripple outward. Articles chronicled the unusual inheritance story, highlighting the hidden family truth that greed and entitlement do not guarantee stewardship. Social media posts, storytelling videos in English, and narrated stories of the estate's transformation spread widely, inspiring audiences to consider how values, not just wealth, define legacy. I spent long evenings with Max by the fireplace, reflecting on the weeks since the legal confirmation of the will. Each act of stewardship, every charitable donation, every rescued animal, every community initiative, felt like a direct conversation with Eleanor. Through her planning, she had taught lessons about accountability, vision, and the power of emotional storytelling in guiding action. Max, for his part, remained blissfully unaware of the legal battles, the press attention, or the philosophical weight of his inheritance. He responded only to care, attention, and the quiet routines of estate life. Yet in every wag of his tail, every patient sit, and every gentle nudge, he demonstrated exactly what Eleanor had intended, that the right heir, even one who could not speak or write, could uphold her vision with grace. Months passed. Programs expanded. The estate became a hub for community engagement, and Max's presence remained central. Even distant relatives who had once scorned the arrangement began to recognize its wisdom, albeit reluctantly. The story of a dog inheriting an estate had become not a tale of absurdity, but a testament to foresight, planning, and values that transcend species. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting amber light across the estate, I knelt beside Max in the gardens. The air was filled with the scent of flowers and the soft rustle of leaves. "You've done well, Max," I whispered. "Your inheritance isn't just land or money, it's a responsibility, and you've honored it exactly as Grandma intended." Max leaned against me, warm and steady, as if he understood the gravity of the words. In that moment, the full weight of Eleanor Whitmore's vision became clear. She had orchestrated a legacy that could not be corrupted by greed, manipulated by entitlement, or diminished by human folly. She had entrusted it to one who embodied values, not bloodlines, ensuring that her lessons would endure. The Whitmore estate, under Max's quiet stewardship, became a beacon of integrity, responsibility, and ethical inheritance. Visitors, staff, and the community alike witnessed the profound lesson Eleanor had left behind. That true legacy is measured not by wealth or title, but by the ability to act with care, uphold values, and inspire others to do the same. And so, as night fell over the estate, Max settled into his favorite spot beneath the old oak tree, content and watchful. I watched him, reflecting on everything Eleanor had orchestrated. Her inheritance had done more than redistribute property. It had reshaped hearts, altered perspectives, and created a story that would be told for generations. The story of a dog, a family, and a legacy far greater than gold. In the quiet of that evening, I realized the final truth. Inheritance is not about possession, but about the power to enact values. Eleanor Whitmore had understood this. Max Whitmore, the unexpected heir, was living proof. And in honoring her wishes, we had all become part of a story that would endure, whispered in the halls of the estate, shared in narrated stories, and remembered wherever true responsibility is valued.
Thank you for watching this story until the end. If you found it meaningful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support helps us continue bringing powerful, real stories from around the world.